Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful empowered harmonizers. We are zooming in and focusing in on a great viewer question, and that is how to get beyond being stuck or being sort of in a paralysis state after you've been in a relationship that has proved extremely difficult, extremely traumatizing, or one that has you in a state of overwhelm or feeling down and out, blue, depressed, maybe even fearful or terrorized, or what is known as post-traumatic stress syndrome, where things set you off. This is a great viewer question because being stuck unequivocally is a very painful and not only depressing, but it's a very debilitating place to be. You kind of feel like everything in life is moving forward, but you are just sort of staying still. You feel that you're stuck, stagnant. This is a very difficult place to be in. So we're going to zoom in and focus in on how to move through that successfully. So really, by the end of this video, you'll be able to put one foot in front of the other, one thought in front of the other, and really be able to have emotional flow back in your life. And before we get started, I just want to give a super huge shout out to those of you who have recently emailed me, sent me pictures, and donated to the channel. Thank you so much for your contributions, your donations, your support, and your kind words, and sharing with me your own specific situation. It's an honor and a privilege to be able to discuss these topics in depth, in detail, in the nitty-gritty, and really help smoke it out so that you're no longer confused and thwarted or hindered by these relationship troubles. And absolutely positively, if the channel here has been a positive influence, we would love to hear from you and have you participate as well. Please feel free to donate at the PayPal Donate Now button here at the About page at Peace and Harmony. Please do review the library of videos we have here. Comment, interact. It is important to become active in your own healing journey. It's one thing to be able to, absorb it. It's another thing to interact, process, and apply the lessons and apply the tools that we've described here. And it is a process, basically, to make a choice to heal. It is a process to make a decision to go and to stand up and say, you know what, I think that there is something awry about this relationship, and perhaps it's not just only me. It has something to do with this individual. And the vagus nerve, which is, connected in your abdomen, in your lower abdomen, in your gut, has a connection known as intuition, this vagus nerve. And oftentimes when you're in a relationship with someone who is controlling, overwhelming, deceptive, deceitful, playing games, playing tricks, particularly mind games, particularly people who have personality issues, disorders, antisocial, narcissistic, covert narcissistic, people who have a pathological sense of self-importance coupled with a lack of empathy oftentimes gives these people the audacity to have a sort of entitlement to use other people, take advantage, hurt other people's feelings. It's not funny, it is serious. It becomes a very debilitating issue when you're really sort of snagged up on this. It's the looks that kill. It's the comments, the sarcasm of the narcissist. The put downs that are really, disguised as jokes. The, sardonic, or what I would call caustic, meaning very sort of toxic comments. And really, unless you've really been a target of this, otherwise known as a scapegoat, sort of singled out for this, is due to oftentimes an individual who has personality issues. Meaning, it's not that there's something wrong with you that you have done outright to deserve this treatment. It is basically a personality flaw issue, substrata of a healthy functioning individual where it becomes dysfunctional. It's very difficult to identify and distinguish as something as such as dysfunctional while you're in the midst of it. So people are oftentimes in the beginning of this relationship, and the relationship might have started when you were a youngin', a little one, just a flash in a pan, 4, 5, 6, 7 in your childhood when you might have been exposed to this. You might have been a teenager at your school. You might have been a young 20-something at your workplace. You might be well into your life in your 30s, 40s, or 50s when you are exposed to this. And I use the word kind of exposed as if this is a hazard. If this is an oil slick on a road that you're driving on, as if this is a sudden storm that, clouds out your visibility, where you no longer have a vision or a connection within yourself that is connected to this vagus nerve, your intuition. This gut instinct, these gut words are very difficult to hear or to articulate and embrace your feelings and sort of have that internal locus of control when you're in a relationship with someone who is narcissistic, meaning that they will have very different personality patterns and ways of communicating and relating to others in a social setting, particularly also intrapersonal, which means within them. There's even though people think, well, a person's a person's a person, and they just think, they automatically assume because of the chronic exposure to this that there's something wrong with them. So they make the wrong assumption that there must be something inherently wrong with them as an individual. It's very easy to make this deduction, to make this assumption, to make it the equation that there must be something inherently wrong with me. That's why I am getting treated this way. What are some of the debilitating treatments that can cause you to get stuck, hung up, or snagged by this personality issue when you're dealing with someone who is narcissistic? Someone who has a pathological sense of self-importance, sort of this egotistical buoyancy where they just never seem to get real, get genuine, have a vulnerable side. They just don't seem to ever have it. They seem, too big to fail, too egotistical to, bat an eye at their own humanness. They seem, they appear human, of course, but there's something within them that does not ever sort of admit to, a true imperfection, if you will. They come off as if they are faultless, meaning that there's never ever something wrong with them. They don't go there. They don't feel it. To feel this would be for them to bottom out, because a narcissist thrives on control and power over others in manipulating how people perceive them. In other words, they don't want others to arrive at their own deduction or, assertion of them. They don't want others to arrive at their own conclusion or confront them. They want to manipulate and control and sort of plant that seed early on that there's something wrong with you, but then couple it with this sort of playful sarcasm or even affection, meaning, oh, silly dum-dum, and then pat you on the head. Those sort of confusing things. Oh, there's always going to be, green people like you, ignorant people, just people who just don't get it. Oh, hello.